Hi, I'm Robbie Lawler.
What's up, Fight Family? This is your favorite MMA coach, Thiago Alves, the Pitbull.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Pedro Munoz.
Mike Brown.
Guys, I am Alexei Olenik. And welcome.
And welcome.
And welcome.
And welcome.
And this is We Want One Picks.
And you're watching We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks.
We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks. Hi, everybody from American DraftKings.
My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Jacob and I are going to break down the entire UFC San Diego fight card. We're going to give you our picks, our predictions, our bets, and our fantasy plays. Before we jump in, consider becoming a premium member. So premium membership is at wewantpicks.com. All you need to do is scroll to the top, click Become a Member. It is $10 a month. That's only $2.50 per week. And we give you exclusive bets, early betting lines, exclusive fantasy content, all sorts of betting tools, DraftKings ownership projections, and everything you need to not only pay for the membership, but, I mean, potentially pay your mortgage. Right, Jakey? Anyway, last week we were ahead of You ran. Okay, well. Last week we were ahead of a bunch of betting lines, a bunch of them. The Brian Battle line. There was a bunch of others I'm not remembering right now.
Does not go the distance in the main event.
There was a bunch of lines that we were way ahead of, and premium members had access to that. And we've got a whole bunch of bets up there now, ready for you. WeOnPicks.com. Scroll to the top, click Become a Member. And you know the drill. If you want $50 for free, I've been paying people all day. Go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners, make a deposit, and I send you $50. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, however you want it, $50 as a thank you. That's WeWantPicks.com/bets. Jakey boy, UFC San Diego was supposed to be kind of a dumpster fire of a card, but they moved a couple of fights around, and now it's not the worst thing in the world. What do you think?
Not too bad. Before we get started, just a quick little announcement here. I was doing my due diligence, scanning Instagram, looking at Instagrams, this and that. I did notice in my daily deep dive of Amanda Ribas's Instagram, I'm not seeing a boyfriend anymore. Used to be a lot of pictures with boyfriend, this and that. Here we go. Now she's posting a lot of positive. A lot of times after breakups, the girls are very positive, posting a lot. I'm doing great. So with that said, hi, Amanda. My name is Jacob. It's so nice to meet you. Excuse me. I'm a big fan of yours, fighting inside the octagon, a fan of yours outside the octagon, the bubbly personality, your great laugh. And with that said, shoot or shoot. And this is my shot. I wrote you a song and I'd like to sing it for you.
Oh, my God.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Uninterrupted, please. I wrote you a song, Amanda, and I hope you enjoy it. I can show you the world, shining, shimmering splendor. Tell me, princess, when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways, and under, on a magic carpet ride. Amanda, I can show you a whole new world. Thank you. Thank you, Amanda.
I watched
this
our
is my
viewer
Instagram.
count.
This is my Twitter. We'll be in touch.
The viewer count was just... Anyway, I'd like to break down fights and move past whatever the hell that was and really just pick up the energy in this room because that was embarrassing. First up at UFC San Diego, we have Jason Witt taking on Josh Quinlan. This fight was Jacob's serenation just really threw me for a loop. Blood's flowing to all the wrong places, Jacob. Anyway, this fight was supposed to happen.
Too, huh?
This was supposed to happen last week. But Josh Quinlan does what he does. He pissed a little hot. And they moved the fight to this week. I don't know the specifics or the ins and the outs of how he pissed hot, wasn't allowed to fight in Nevada, but he can fight in California. I know it was just a tiny amount, but I don't know everything but I do know that we've got this fight. And Jason Witt's 19-8 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He is alternating wins and losses. Josh Quinlan's 5-0 in his last 5 in his career, and he's coming off an overturned knockout win on the Contender Series. I mentioned this fight was rebooked from last week, and I'm glad it was because I had a really nice bet on this fight that they kept. They didn't refund it. They kept it, so I'm very happy about that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Jason Witt is a wrestler. He's a grinder, and he's really only looking for takedowns and then just to beat you up from there. He has no intention on engaging in a kickboxing match, and that's totally fine because his stand-up is just okay and his chin is not great. When he does get on top, and I'm saying when because he averages 7 takedowns per fight. So this guy's getting takedowns. He's getting on top. Whether he wins the fight or not, it's a whole different story. But he is getting there. And when he gets on top, he's got great control, great pressure, and then he just elbows and pounds away from there. He's not looking for a submission, but if you squirm, he will grab one. And if we go back to his last fight against Philip Rowe, that is like exactly a Jason Witt fight. He took Philip Rowe down 4 times, had an entire round of control time, and Philip Rowe landed 8 total strikes and still got the knockout win. Josh Quinlan's a dangerous striker. He's got very real power, and he is coming off an incredible knockout on the Contender Series. That was ruled a no contest because of a USADA issue. So this guy's got 2 USADA issues in 2 attempted UFC fights. He's not just a grappler, though. He is a BJJ brown belt, and he actively competes in grappling competitions. He's a really dangerous guy, and he has not been to a decision yet in his career. And it's a pretty straightforward breakdown, right? If Josh can defend the takedowns, he'll get a knockout. If not, there's potential that he's just held down and beat on for 15 full minutes. It's literally that simple. Obviously, Josh has the power to knock Witt out, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get there, right? Jason Witt is a grinder. He's got the pace. He's going to consistently come forward and shoot takedowns. If we go back to his win over Brian Barberena, he attempted 18 takedowns. That is an insane pace. I do think the biggest issue for Witt, though, is even if he could dominate the wrestling, he can't make one single mistake. Nothing. Because one mistake cost him the Phil Rose fight, and a mistake here can cost him this fight as well. So it's really tricky, but I'm going to have to stick with Josh Quinlan, but like every bone in my body wants to pick Jason Witt. You guys know that I love wrestlers in these spots, but the bet that I have, it is a BetOnline exclusive. BetOnline has introduced these new prop bets where they let you bet on who's going to get more takedowns in a fight. There's no line. It's not more than 5, more than 2. It's just who in this fight between these 2 people will get more takedowns. I got this, and all the premium members got this at minus 325 for Jason Witt. Whether this guy wins or loses, he will get more takedowns than Josh Quinlan. It's literally that simple. Or he gets 0 and you get a refund. That's a push. So that's a risk-free bet. It will cash. I'm positive about that. And I think this probably looks like the Phil Rowe last fight. Couple takedowns, knockout sandwich. So I got that bet going. Quinlan is the pick, and you're only going to get that bet. They do have it back up this week. You're not going to get as good of odds because you're not a premium member. But if you want to be a premium member, weonpicks.com. Scroll to the top, click become a member, and get ahead of some of these lines. Jakey boy, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think this is tricky at all. Anytime Jason Witt fights somebody with any type of power at all, you see what happens. I mean, you saw that versus Takashi Soto, you saw it versus Semelsberger, you saw it versus Philip Rowe. Even if he gets takedowns early, all it takes is one shot to that little glass chin of his, and he's going to get knocked out. And the issue for Jason Witt, as I mentioned last week, is Josh isn't an extended puncher. He doesn't need long shots to knock you out. He has those nice tight hooks, those tight uppercuts, big power in the pocket. So Jason Witt, when he's closing the distance, normally he would feel safe in those situations, but those nice tight shots are going to be there for Josh. He was in my parlay last week. If I put together a parlay this week, I don't really like the favorites as much as I did last week, but if I do put a parlay together this week, Josh is definitely going to be a piece for that. I think he's got all the tools, and he's not really tested as much as 5-0, but I've seen enough to know his gas tank holds up as well. That even if he gets taken down the first round and he gets on his back, let's say he just gets kind of mauled that first round, he can still come out pretty fresh and still have that knockout power in the second round, even in the third round, I think. So even if Jason Witt's winning the first round, still look for that knockout from Josh, maybe a live bet situation or whatever, but I think this is a Josh play all the way. Obviously, if Jason gets to his legs, he's probably going to get a takedown, but Jason's not really a finisher on the ground, so he's got to continue to get takedowns over and over and over, at least 3 for each round. And even then, I think Josh might be able to get to his feet. So I'm a big Josh guy in this matchup. I think he finds the chin of Jason, and that's all it's really going to take is one real shot, and Jason's going to go down. So I'm going to put Josh probably in my DraftKings lineup. I might put some money on him as well, but if I make a parlay, also going to be a piece. Big fan of Josh going to this. He's a savage.
Yeah, I completely agree. Savage. I don't know the next word in that song, but you know where I was going.
I'm a savage.
Yeah,
Bougie,
something.
Betty,
Savage.
savage. I'm a savage.
Okay, we're done. You sang
Bougie,
enough.
Betty,
You have sung enough.
savage. I'm a savage. Send that to Amanda too, huh?
I tend to agree with that pick. Listen, DraftKings has not officially dropped pricing. The pricing that you see here was last week's DraftKings pricing. So we'll see. We'll see if there's adjustments. I'm always curious to see when a fight is rebooked what DraftKings does with that and what the odds makers do because they saw action.
Yeah, it's hardly ever like the week after, but a lot of times it's like a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, usually it's a couple.
But it's always fun to watch, like you mentioned, to see what they do.
Yeah, well, especially sometimes DraftKings just will make like a $100 adjustment. The bookies are always interesting because they got action. They saw what happened. They've moved their line. They adjusted. Fight got canceled. And then they get to open the line fresh at the correct spot. And this week, Josh Quinlan opened up as an even bigger favorite than he did last week.
So clean.
So, Monkey Knife Fight strike line. That is a real line. He does have that up. 51-71. Listen, I think it's a less because Jason Witt is going to get the takedowns. He does elbow on top. But you're like blowing in my ear while I'm trying to.
You like it or no?
No.
Okay.
Jason Witt will get on top, in my opinion. I just don't know for how long. 50 is not that crazy of a number, so he could potentially get there. But 71 for Josh is crazy, especially given Jason's chin. Look at Philip Rowe. Dude landed 8 in that last fight. And that was in the second round. He only got to 8. So no way that gets to 71. I do think this is a less with Monkey Knife Fight. What do you think, Jackie boy?
I agree with Hustle Hog, less. I don't agree with you. I agree with Hustle Hog.
Okay.
Less.
You guys want to give that a shot? Go to wewantpicks.com/MKF. You sign up. They will instantly match your deposit. Take the free deposit match money. Play some of these lines. I like the less here. I'm pretty confident in that as well. And make sure you go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our partners. Make a deposit, and I'll send you $50 as a thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up, at UFC San Diego, we have Youssef Zalal taking on Damon Blackshear. Youssef Zalal is 10-5 overall, 2-3 in his last 5, riding a 3-fight skid. Damon Blackshear is 12-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, and he is making his UFC debut. Youssef Zalal is a very well-rounded fighter who likes to hang out on the outside and then just come in with solid takedowns. He averages more than 2 takedowns per fight, but he does have a low accuracy of 29%. His striking style is to stay on that outside, but with Damon's speed and his entries, that really could be hard to do. While Zalal can be very low volume with his output, he does have incredible defense. He's only hit with 1.74 significant strikes per minute, which, considering he has 6 decisions in the UFC, that's a pretty incredible stat. Damon Blackshear is taking this fight on short notice, and it is his UFC debut, but he does have plenty of experience, and he's earned this opportunity. This is honestly very similar to the Chris Curtis and how he got into the UFC, right? He had a bunch of experience. He was on the UFC's radar, but he stepped up on short notice, and that's how he got his foot in the door. He is an athletic striker with impressive speed and power. He can grapple, and we saw that with his incredibly slick back take in his CFFC title win. But his losses are essentially all grappling based, where he's just sort of taken down and held down. And listen, Youssef should win this fight. He should be able to get the takedowns and control Damon the same way that Danny Sabatello did. But Damon is dangerous. He's well-trained, and he should have enough experience to not get caught up in the moment. If this was not short notice, I think I would love Damon in this spot, and I think I'd pick him outright, no problem. My only hesitation right now is how tough Zalal is. He's almost impossible to finish. So even if Blackshear has success early, he's going to need to keep that pace, avoid the takedowns for another 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes or whatever it is. Obviously, it's not 20. but I just don't know if he can. I'm still going to pick Damon Blackshear here. He's got all the tools. I just have to hope that the short notice isn't an issue, that he'll be in shape. But the dude's athletic. He's fast. He's very talented. I'm going to save my money, but I am picking Damon Blackshear in his UFC debut. What do you think, Jakey boy, and why were you thumbs-upping?
No, I think I was thumbs upping because I thought your breakdown was 100% correct, and I thought you did a
go.
great job. Finally, you have a good breakdown on
There
a
it
fight,
is.
and we're feeling good about it. It was a great breakdown because I agree. I wanted to pick them on just all the way up until I reached that point where it's like experience, right? I mean, right there, short notice, experience of Zalal. And the biggest question mark of this fight is Zalal. This is his first fight at 135, the bantamweight debut for Youssef Zalal. I think it's going to really pay dividends for him because if you watch him at 145, he wanted to wrestle people, but it seemed like he just was not physical enough to kind of wrestle. And you saw that really against that Sean Woodson fight. And obviously Sean Woodson is a monster at 145. I think he's like 6'2", something like that. Just absolutely crazy. Me and him look eye to eye when we stand next to each other. Really big guy. So Zalal, it was a tough guy to get down, but 135 should be much easier to take these people down, and that's going to be the biggest question mark. Just like the Jason Witt fight, I think this is, if Zalal is able to get the takedowns he needs, he should dominate, and if not, I think he's in real trouble, because as you mentioned, Blackshear is game, dude. That guy, it's short notice, not a lot of experience, UFC debut, but that dude is game. When you watch him fight, even when he's taken down, I watched one fight where he's getting taken down, he's getting taken down. That dude is always trying to get back to his feet. When he gets back to his feet, he is throwing heat because he knows he's down in rounds. He's one of those guys that is going to come out and try to chase finishes if he knows he's losing the fight, and that's big issues for Zalal, because Zalal, as good as he is on the feet, as far as like not taking damage, as you mentioned, he's not really a threat on the feet. He just kind of throws pillow shots, low volume to work to get those takedowns. So Blackshear can kind of blitz in and not have to worry about the big power of Zalal coming back, and that's what worries me. If Zalal cannot get the takedowns, it's going to be big issues for Zalal. I'm not saying he's going to get knocked out because he is a tough, durable dude, but he could get just wailed on by this dude because Damon Blackshear is no joke. So it's going to be interesting to see what Zalal looks like on the scale. 135 is first. He's not a huge dude, so I think he's going to make it all right. And those takedowns should be a lot easier. So, I'm going to go with the experience and the takedowns of Zalal because I've just seen Blackshear on his back a little bit too much for me to want to pick him. But I don't disagree with your picking of Blackshear. I went back and forth on this fight. I think it's a very close fight. And it's probably one of those pick your sides in DraftKings, I imagine. So I'm going with Youssef Zalal just based on experience, honestly.
Yeah, and I agree. It is a pick 'em in DraftKings. Like the pricing basically has it as a pick 'em, and I think I think whoever Damon's going to win by a KO, TKO, or Youssef's going to get the takedowns, control, and do well. I think either one of these guys scores really well in DraftKings. I think it's a solid fight, and the problem is I'm not confident enough to put Damon in there. Right? I do think he wins. I'm picking him. Am I going to sacrifice 1 out of 6 slots for him? I'm not sure, but he is a dangerous guy. I do think he gets that done. The odds, again, it's basically a pick 'em. If Damon was like a plus 150, I might touch it. But plus 110, again, too many questions with the short notice.
I'm about 180. Do you want to touch me?
First of all, you weigh like 160 pounds wet with quarters in your pockets. And second, I would love to wring your neck. I would love to.
Okay. I would love that too.
Neck. I don't even need 2 hands.
What's our safe word, Angelo?
Okay, settle down. Monkey Knife Fight Strike Line, I honestly think it's probably a more. Although 68 is pretty high. Yeah, that's tricky. I'm not going to touch this.
I think it's more. I feel good about it.
68's high, though, and Youssef can play that outside game, be a little low volume there.
Nah, I think it's more. I think Blackshear is going to come in, push the pressure. They're going to get to the ground a few times. I think it's going to be a fun fight. I think this could end up being fight of the night, honestly.
It'll be interesting. I actually enjoy. I hate breaking down the UFC debuts because I got to start from zero, do a whole bunch of research, but I do enjoy watching UFC debuts. So, anyway, you guys want to experiment with this Monkey Knife Fight line? Go to weonpicks.com/MKF. All you need to do is say more or less on the strike line, and you can triple your money. And if you want $50, go to weonpicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit, and we will send you $50 as a thank you. Next up at UFC San Diego, we have a very interesting short notice fight. None of this makes any sense. We got Angela Hill taking on Lupita Godinez. This fight was originally supposed to be happening on October 15th. So, what is that? 2 months out? A little more than 2 months out?
That's one day before my birthday. Everyone mark it on your calendars.
Congratulations. That's supposed to be, that's basically 2 months from now. This was signed, booked. They both agreed to that. Then, for whatever reason, they brought it in 2 whole months, which is basically an entire training camp. Brought it in 2 whole months. They are now fighting this weekend. It is as a catch weight because of that. But we got Angela Hill taking on Lupita Godinez. Angela Hill, 13-12 overall, 1-4 in her last 5, and she is coming off a grappling loss to Verna Jandiroba. Lupita Godinez is 8-2 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, riding a 2-fight win streak. And Angela Hill, you know, her career has been hot as cold, but as of late, she's just been cold. She's got high IQ. She's pretty good on her feet. She's fast. She's got lots of versatility, solid volume, but no real power. And when breaking down her fights, typically you'll see that Angela Hill beats who she's supposed to beat and then loses who she's supposed to lose to, right? She beats the Ashley Yoders of the world, and then she loses to Tisha Torres, Karate Hottie. She just lost to Amanda Lemos, but a lot of people think she actually won that fight. But I got to be honest, man, that her last fight against Verna Jandiroba, that looks like the beginning of the end because she just did not look good. She was taken down 3 times, controlled for 7 full minutes, and she is a talented fighter. For a while there, she was the gatekeeper, the measuring stick. For a minute, it looked like she might actually like move up the ranks there, but unfortunately, Angela has not been able to put it together. I think she's doing very well in the booth. I think she's doing well. She's got a podcast. She's streaming. Like, I think she's got a lot going on, and those other venues are successful. I think she fights because she enjoys fighting, but I don't know if she's still got it. And that Verna Jandiroba loss really was a nail in the coffin for me. And she's taking on Lupita Godinez, who's big, strong. She's a wrestler. She's got solid striking, very real power, and clean boxing. She's got great setups to both the wrestling and the striking. And she's big for this weight class, and she uses that size and strength really well to execute her game plan. She's got 2 losses in the UFC, but the Jessica Penne loss was just a bad decision.
Bullshit.
You're agreeing that it was a bad decision, is what you're saying.
It was bullshit.
Yeah, that was a bad decision. And the Luana Carolina loss was short notice and up in weight, and she just struggled to be the bully, right? Because that's her fighting style. So she absolutely destroyed Ariane Carnelozzi in her last fight, and I think it's going to be more of the same here. I'm 100% all in on Lupi. I think she bullies the hell out of Angela Hill. I don't think she has any issues doing it, and I might be way too high on Lupita Godinez here, but I think she should be a parlay piece. I think you're good with a money line, and the line actually tightened, which is crazy. It opened at minus 360. It's tightening. It's minus 300. I think she's worth absolutely every penny of that minus 300. I was going to take the takedown line. So as you guys know, BetOnline has introduced new prop bets where you just bet who's going to get more takedowns in this fight. And I was foaming at the mouth, frothing, waiting for that to get dropped to bet on Lupi. It's minus 1,000, so I'm not going to be taking that action, even though I do think that's a guarantee. I'm just not going to do it. But I see Lupi winning this fight, dominating this fight. I think she's going to have 0 issues doing it. So Lupi is the obvious pick. What do you think, Jackaloots?
Yeah, you've changed your tune since the Ariane Carnelozzi fight. I love to see the adaptation.
What tune did I change? I've always liked Lupi.
You picked Ariane Carnelozzi.
I thought because she's jacked.
Okay,
and
so that's all I
strong.
need. Okay, yeah, that's all I
didn't
need.
change
that's
my
all
tune,
I need.
you
I
muppet.
appreciate you changing your tune. I appreciate you changing your tune because if you watch all of our Lupi breakdowns, I have been screaming from the mountaintops that this girl is going to be a champion. She has all the tools in the world, and she will absolutely Khabib her way to a title, and nobody will ever beat her. She is an undefeated fighter. I don't care what her record says. She's an undefeated fighter. She is going to maul and tear up every single girl in this division. If she somehow loses this fight to Angela Hill, I'm going to lose all my money because I'm placing every single bet I can on Lupi, minus 3.5 money line. Maybe not not inside the distance, but as the odds come down, I'm going to keep placing bets on her. I don't give a fuck. She should be minus 500, minus 700, minus 1,000 versus Angelo Hill. Lupi Godinez is the real deal. This is not blowing smoke up your ass either. You saw that versus Ariane Carnelosi. Some people did pick Ariane, and she absolutely destroyed Ariane. Lupi will do the exact same thing to every single girl they put in front of her until she gets the title, and she will defend the title and go down as one of the greatest female fighters to ever live. My pick is Lupi.
Okay. The Carnelosi fight was impressive because Carnelosi's jacked, strong, powerful, and I thought Lupi might have a little bit of a hard time pushing her around, and she absolutely did not. So she'll definitely push Angelo Hill around. We are aligned. $9,200 in DraftKings. It's probably worth it because of the takedowns and the control time, but I don't think there's a stoppage. The over line is like minus 400. So the world thinks this will go over 2.5, which it probably will, but I still think it's a mauling. And that line is less about Lupi and more about Angelo Hill. She's tough.
Yeah, tough as hell.
She's very hard to get rid of. So we are aligned here. The monkey knife fight strike line. I'm actually not going to touch it in this fight because with the grappling, the pressure, I think Angelo Hill, she's tricky with, she can do some solid volume, but I think she's going to be sending takedowns. Lupita Godinez is going to be working takedowns. I just don't know what's going to happen with this strike line. So I'm not going to touch the monkey knife fight strike line. Do you have any feelings about that?
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's hard to tell because when she gets on top, she's a pretty pressured wrestler. It's hard to even get strikes off from the bottom. And she might be working more submissions than anything. So that's a tough strike line. We'll say it is. You mentioned short notice, but another girl I follow on Instagram, and I can tell you this. She's been working out and she's been staying ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Lupi is always ready.
It's so funny you say that because I got a text from somebody else today saying, I'm all in on Lupi, but I looked at her Instagram. She looks a little chubby. Now I'm worried.
She's literally every single video she posts is her working out.
Okay. Well,
who said that? I would love a name. I want a fucking name. I would love a name right now.
I'll text it to you.
Okay. I would love a name.
He's in the chat.
Please.
Maybe he'll own up to it. We'll see what happens.
Give me a name and an address.
Anyway,
and we'll handle it.
Jacob and I are aligned on this pick. I think we both agree she's worth it in DraftKings. We both got money on her. I'm on the Lupi train here with Chris. Jakey Boy. If you guys, it was Chris Riley. There it is. See, I didn't want. I'm no snitch. You're not gonna get it out of me. I am no snitch. So he wanted. He owned up to it. He owned up to it. You're not gonna get that out of me. Not gonna happen. Anyway, WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit, and I will send you $50 as a thank you. That's WeWantPicks.com/bets. Next up at UFC San Diego, we have Ode Osbourne taking on Tyson Nam in his return. Ode Osbourne is 11-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, and he is riding a 2-fight win streak. Tyson Nam is 20-12 overall, 2-3 in his last 5, coming back after a year and a half away. Ode Osbourne is a southpaw striker who uses range well to keep people at the end of his punches. He's got a ton of power and great finishing ability, especially at his new home of 125 pounds, where he is currently 2-0. He has 4 wins in the UFC with takedowns in 2 of them, and he may use some of that grappling in this matchup to avoid the big power of Tyson Nam. Tyson's a low-volume striker with some very real power and solid takedown defense. His striking is technical, and he has phenomenal counters. His knockout of Adeshev was actually a perfect showcase of that. He ate the leg kick, fired back with a straight right, and just got that knockout. While Nam is a ton of power at this weight class, he doesn't necessarily have the same speed as the rest of the division. He's 2-3 in the UFC, but his losses are to Sergio Pettis when he was better, Kai Kara France, who's still very good, and Matt Schnell, who we've seen is impossible to put away. At one point in time, Tyson Nam was legit. And, he was a name that people were talking about and trying to figure out what could he do here. But we're a year and a half removed from his last fight, 2 years removed from his last win, and he's almost 40 years old. This is primarily a striker versus striker matchup.
40. I mean, that's a great looking 40.
It really
Jesus
is.
Christ.
Listen, I completely agree.
Holy shit. OnlyFans. Does anybody know if he is on OnlyFans?
Probably. It's probably amazing. Anyway, it's primarily a striker versus striker matchup, but both of these men have negative striking differentials and have been on the wrong side of a knockout. But outside of some very real power from Nam, I think Ode is the all-around better fighter. If you go back to Tyson's losses, he essentially loses to speed and volume. Pettis more than doubled his strikes. Both Schnell and Franz almost did the same thing. Nam's power is an asset, of course, but he also relies on it too much, and that's how he ends up behind on the scorecards. I got to go with Ode here to stay busy, threaten takedowns, and get his third win at 125 pounds. I like Ode Osbourne in this fight.
Yeah, they haven't dropped prop yet. At least not on Bet Online for this fight. But I'm definitely going to go. Does not go the distance. It looks like the under 2.5 is pretty much even. So it's probably some good odds on that. Ode he's going to be a difference maker, man. He is going to be around and be a big problem for this 125 pound division. Once he started making that cut and he made it just, I mean, absolutely fine. He has no issues with it. That dude has the speed of a 125er and the power of really like a 155er. That dude has crazy power for this division. And it's not just that lunging, big overhand right power, as you mentioned. So it's in and out, so slick counters, the step backs with the counter lefts, the counter, I mean, everything he throws is heat because he's just so fast and his footwork is incredible. You mentioned Tyson Nam does have power in that right hand, but just flat-footed, man. I mean, at this point in his career, he's just kind of that flat-footed 125 or looking for that knockout shot. And listen, Ode's a guy that has been knocked out. He has been knocked out. He does take chances at times. Sometimes when you're that quick with your in and out, if you come in at the wrong opportunity and that shot times up right, you can get knocked out. He has been knocked out before, so I don't want to say that Tyson Nam doesn't have an opportunity in this fight because he's going to have that right hand, and there might be an opportunity where it hits at the right spot where Ode's zigging when he should zag type situation. But Ode with that wrestling in his back pocket as well is going to be a big problem in the 125 division, man. I mean, even his losses. He has a loss to Brian Keller, a guillotine loss. Okay, that happens against Brian Keller. That Manel Kopp fight, he was absolutely beating the shit out of Manel Kopp the whole first round, gets caught with that flying knee. It is what it is. When he is just toe-to-toe with somebody, he is the better, more talented fighter probably in the more probably 90, 95% of this division. Every person that he faces, he's going to be the more talented fighter. It just comes down to, if he gets just flash knocked out, which unfortunately has happened before. So I'm Ode all the way in this matchup. He's going to be around for this division. I keep saying that, but I mean, I just can't stress enough how good this dude is, how talented he is. All the tools, everything you could ask for in a fighter, power, speed, wrestling, everything. I'm all Ode in this. No disrespect to Tyson Nam, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we are aligned here. And thank you very much, Hustle Hog, for the $6.99 Canadian. I think that is $5 US. Super chat. He said he's 1.5 units up on Dana White Contender Series. No action on the Nickal fight, which I agree with that. I mean, Bo Nickal should win, but those odds are insane. Why would anybody do that? Yeah, honestly, you're better off throwing a couple bucks to the other guy just to see what happens. But thank you very much for the super chat. It is very, very appreciated. Jakey boy, $8,800. I think Ode Osbourne is a fantastic value, and I love that he's not 90-something hundred. Do you agree?
Yeah, because either way, even if he tries to get a knockout, it's probably going to come early, or maybe he just uses wrestling and just lights up the scoreboard with all those takedowns too. So either way, I think it's a great play.
Yeah, so I think we're aligned there. $8,800 in DraftKings. These odds are solid too. Honestly, I imagine these are going to move. So everybody out there, if you're watching now, you like the fight, the earlier you place the bets, the better. It's that simple. And I know it's not easy to do your own research. And we come live on Tuesday nights. A lot of people watch these Fridays, Saturdays. The reality is, Jacob and I are placing bets earlier than that, sometimes a week, 2 weeks in advance. I already have bets for UFC 278. If you want access to those bets and you want to get them early before the lines move, you don't necessarily need to dig in deep, but you can get some feel for what we're doing. Go to WeWantPicks.com, scroll to the top, and click Become a Member. It's $10 a month. Honestly, that's a very insignificant amount of money considering what we're giving you for that. We're giving you bets.
It's a little bit disrespectful, honestly. For as much as we offer, it's a little disrespectful.
Legit, $2.50 a week, and the UFC's doing a show pretty much every single week. You hit one bet, and you bought many months worth of membership. WeOwnPicks.com, scroll to the top, click Become a Member, and unlock those early bets now. And that doesn't even include all the DFS and fantasy content on there. The Monkey Knife Fight strike line, I think it's a less. I don't think we get here. I think this is a clean less. And I think Ode Osbourne should be in your knockout kings. If you don't know what that is, Monkey Knife Fight lets you pick any 3 fighters on the entire card. And if one of them wins by KO or TKO, you get 25% net profit. 2 of them, you 2.5 times your money. Ode should be one of those guys in there. Go to WeOnPicks.com/MKF. What? Why are you shaking your head for?
The only thing that worries me is if he comes in with a wrestling game plan. I don't know why he would. I mean, maybe he would, but that's when stuff could add up quickly, but probably is less.
Even less. I mean, 71 is a very high number, even if he includes some wrestling. So, listen, Knockout Kings is a safer play anyway, and you guys watch my Monkey Knife Fight videos on Fridays, you will see that we pretty much just build Knockout Kings on there. Next up, at UFC San Diego, we have the second of 3 rebooked fights. We got Ariane Lipski taking on Priscila Cachoeira. This fight was supposed to happen last week at UFC Vegas 59, but Lipski missed weight, and then on fight night had a medical issue. So I imagine those things are absolutely related. And this fight is at a catch weight. It is not at, what it was supposed to be last week, which she didn't even make. So this is at a catch weight. But we got Ariane Lipski 14-7 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, coming off an impressive performance against Mandy Bohm. Priscila Cachoeira is 11-4 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, coming off a controversial win over Ji Yun Kim. Ariane Lipski is a solid striker. She's got good grappling. She's coming off that solid win over Mandy Bohm where she doubled her strikes and defended all the takedowns. And what was nice to see in that fight is that she defended all the takedowns because it broke a 2-fight skid where she was taken down, and that's why she lost those fights. But she does have decent grappling. The issue, though, is she needs to be on top with the grappling. If she's grappling off her back, she's going to lose. But if she can be on top, get the takedowns, grapple from there, she can control it, and she's very solid. Priscila Cachoeira has heavy pressure, and she throws heavy punches. She's coming off that sketchy win over Ji Yun Kim, where she landed 70 fewer strikes and only had 30 seconds of control time. So she definitely lost that fight. Just the judges gave it to her. So I guess good for her and her win bonus. But she is primarily a striker. She does have okay takedown defense at 65%. A low takedown accuracy of 33%, though. She does have very real power for the division, but she can be KO or bust. If you look at the stats, you'll notice Priscilla's striking differential is 4-7, which means for every 4 significant strikes that she lands, she has hit 7 times. If you look closer at those losses, she basically was dominated by the strikes. And last week, I liked Ariane Lipski, right? I thought without the threat of a takedown from Priscila, she could dance around, let her hands really go, loosen up, and beat her the same way she beat Mandy. But she missed weight, didn't fight on fight night. Now she's going to be cutting weight again. She's not going to have to come all the way down, but she's still going to be cutting some weight. And this is all within a week. I think it's all going to be a big problem for her. I am full-on switching my pick. Full 180. I am going Priscila Cachoeira in this fight, and I just did a little drizzle, a little tiny drizzle on the money line because, listen, you show up overweight, you don't fight on fight night. It was already going to be a tough fight. The fact that the odds makers kept her at 2-1 coming into this week is very surprising. What do you think, Jakey boy?
I think that I'm probably to blame for that. I think my video, she saw my video, she started getting excited. She went out and bought some chocolate strawberries. Maybe they were spoiled a little bit, got a little sick. And I'm definitely to blame for that. And unfortunately, Ariane, I know you're probably watching this, waiting for me to do another whatever. I got to retract that video. If you saw the beginning of this live stream, I reached out to Amanda Ribas. I sang to her, and that's my girl now. So unfortunately, Ariane, I got to move on. And I was going to move on from my pick from her. You went 180 on this. I went 360 on this. I went to Priscila, then I went back to Ariane. Obviously, you can't feel great about Ariane now going to this matchup after the mishap last week, being sick, whatever the issue was. If you want to pay minus 190 for Ariane, God bless you for it. It's not going to be me. I'm going to stick with Ariane as my pick because she definitely is the more technical fighter in a what should be mostly a kickboxing match. But Priscilla's got the power, man. She's got those big looping shots. And as I mentioned last week, Ariane is one of those girls that's definitely a better hammer than a nail. And if Priscila kind of pressures her and blitzes her early, Ariane could find herself in a world of trouble because she does not fight well off her back foot and definitely not off her back if she gets taken down. She is definitely a pressure fighter. Loves those 3 or 4 punch combinations moving forward. not moving backwards. And Priscilla's one of those girls that will just eat shots and just keep coming forward and keep coming forward. So I'm going to stick with my pick at Ariane. I think that she can use her technical abilities and 3 and 4 punch combos to kind of touch up Priscilla and keep her at distance and keep that respect. But I'll be honest, I did sprinkle inside the distance decision no action bet on Priscilla. So if she finds that finish, I'll get paid. And if Ariane wins that boring decision, that kickboxing match, I'll just give my money back. So playing a little bit of both sides on this, but sometimes you got to do that to make some money. So my pick is Ariane, but I sprinkled a little money on Priscilla inside the distance.
What were the odds on that?
I don't know, Angelo. Let me check for you. I got it here right in front of me. It is plus 125.
Yeah, those are solid odds. So anybody who doesn't know what that bet is, Bet Online, it's an exclusive for them. So if you go to WeWantPicks.com/bets, sign up for Bet Online through our links, make a deposit. I'll send you $50. But what that bet means is if Priscila Cachoeira wins inside the distance, gets a TKO, gets a submission, if she wins that fight before the judges' scorecard, you get paid. Jacob will get paid at plus 125. If Ariane Lipski wins a decision, it's all right. Jacob gets a refund, no skin off his back. Nothing happened. He gets all of his money back. I love those bets, and you're right. This is actually a perfect spot for that bet. And getting it at plus money is surprising because she's the more dangerous fighter, and Ariane Lipski is not really finishing people. So I'm shocked that's plus money.
That's what I'm
Listen,
saying.
We just gave it to you, right? That is a premium member type bet, meaning that line is probably going to move. And I imagine that's going to end up being minus money by the end of the week because it's basically risk-free. Nothing's risk-free in MMA, but it's as close as you're going to get a not dangerous fighter versus a dangerous fighter, and you get a refund if it goes to a decision. I mean, solid bet. Good job, Jakey boy.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to, hats off to my support of my friends, my family, everyone that got me to this point to be successful. My coaches.
It's only me. I'm all of those things.
Oh.
Minus the fan. I'm your only friend.
Thank you, Angelo.
I got you to this point. I mean, it's me.
Thank you.
You're
Angelo.
welcome. Okay. What do you think of DraftKings? I think Ariane Lipski at 8,400 was a good value last week. And we don't have the pricing, by the way. This is last week's pricing. So we don't know what DraftKings is going to put out there. So it'll be very interesting to see what DraftKings decides to do. But the betting lines didn't really change. They said, yeah, Ariane's still much better. So I don't know what DraftKings is going to do here. $8,400 before all the weight stuff. Ariane Lipski was actually a decent price point. Now with all that stuff, I'm liking the $7,800 with Priscila Cachoeira. What do you think?
I'm liking neither. Thank you for asking.
Okay, so Jacob full-on faded this fight in DraftKings. I think Priscila Cachoeira is probably, decent at the $7,800. Monkey Knife Fight strike line, I do think it's most likely a more. 75 is up there, but Lipski can be high volume unless she's taken down and bullied. I hate to say it, but this is probably another one of those fights where I'm not going to touch the Monkey Knife Fight strike line because the fight could really go two different directions. What do you think?
I think it's probably a safe more in my mind.
Okay. All right. Fine. More. You guys want to follow that? Go to WeWantPicks.com/MKF. Sign up. They will instantly match your deposit. Use the free deposit match money. Give it a go. That's WeWantPicks.com/MKF. My contacts are so freaking dry right now.
Oh my God. Cry about it. Jesus.
I can't. I'm too dehydrated to cry.
Suck it up. We got people watching. Come on.
All right. Well, next up at UFC San Diego, we've got Gabriel Benítez taking on Charlie Ontiveros. Gabriel Benítez is 22-10 overall, 1-4 in his last 5, and he is coming off a KO loss to Onama 5 months ago. Charlie Ontiveros is 11-8 overall, 2-3 in his last 5, looking for his first UFC win. And Gabriel Benítez is a very good kickboxer and specifically has very good kicks, and he's got some solid movement. He picks his shots well, and he has very real power. His takedown defense is at 58%. His takedown offense is at 50%. And while he does have grappling tools with solid BJJ, he just doesn't use them. He only has one single takedown in his 12 UFC fights, and he has just fallen in love with chasing the knockout. Charlie Ontiveros is coming off back-to-back losses in the UFC, both by finish. In fact, He's been finished in every single one of his losses. He is a striker with a traditional martial arts background, which means he's got that wonder boy stance, that super wide karate style, but he's also wild. He throws unorthodox strikes while chasing a finish, and he's pretty fun to watch. He does not have much to offer on the ground, but will always make it interesting on his feet. He's absolutely massive for this weight class at 6'2", and he has fought at 185 pounds and 170 most of his career. So coming all the way down to 155 is pretty incredible. On its surface, a guy like Benítez, who's 1-4 in his last 5, being, what is he now, a minus 320 favorite? So it tightened a little bit. But the fact that he's such a massive favorite seems crazy. Okay. Please
360?
While I'm trying to do...
Minus 360?
Okay, I thought it was less than that earlier, but okay. Oh, it's 345 on the screen. What am I talking about? Anyway, but yeah, he opened at minus 360, and on its surface, it might seem crazy. This guy's 1-4 in his last 5, and he's almost a 4-1 favorite. But the reality is, he's fun to watch, but he's got chin issues. He's got holes in his games. His 11 wins are against a very low level of competition. I expect Gabriel to be faster, more technical, absolutely the better grappler, even though he's probably not going to use it. So Gabriel is the pick. And, I get nervous saying this. I honestly think he could probably be a parlay piece. It does make me a little nervous because he is finishable, but you're about to be high on Charlie Ontiveros, which is so dumb. Look at this dude's haircut and face and tell me that's the horse you're tying your cart to. That hair and that face. Yeah, I got so mad.
I know you're very upset about this pick because listen, I'm not a Mowgli hater. I like Mowgli. Actually, that last fight, he got absolutely flatlined in his last fight versus David Onama, and we'll talk about David Onama later. But he was winning that fight. He was putting pressure on David Onama. He was looking good, and the commentators even talk about how crisp he looked. Apparently, he's got some of the heaviest leg kicks you'll ever see in your life. But as you mentioned, 1-4 in his last 5. The guy's getting knocked out. The guy's getting flatlined. And against a guy like Charlie, who in his last fight, I know he lost his last fight, but against Steve Garcia, that dude, he dropped Steve Garcia, I think, twice inside of the first 45 seconds in the fight. This dude throws, I think it was an axe kick, right? I think it was in 10 seconds in the fight, he threw an axe kick and drops the dude. I'll take a flyer here. I'll take a flyer in Charlie in this matchup as my pick, but my bet for this fight, it's already moving, is on premium membership. So to go sign up for a premium membership, because the line, I just checked it again, it is moving fast. So become a premium member and sign up to check that bet line out. It is definitely going to hit in this fight. But my pick for this fight is Charlie. It should be a mostly striking matchup, and to me, Charlie is a much more dangerous striker. When he hits dudes, they do not like getting hit. And a Mowgli coming off that bad knockout to David Onama, just few short months ago. I'm gonna go with the wild man Charlie here. It's a flyer. Could it be lock of the week? We'll wait to see.
Okay. Jacob teasing the premium membership. Not usually what he does, but good for you. You guys want to check out all of our bets, both early. Well, not late, though. I guess they'll always be early. Go to WeWantPicks.com, scroll to the top, click Become a Member. All of our bets are there, sometimes weeks, days. Jacob's even got one bet up there that's months in advance, and which helps us get in front of some of these lines before they move. We were successful last week with that. Hopefully to repeat that next week and this week as well. WeWantPicks.com, scroll to the top, click Become a Member. $9,300 in DraftKings for Gabriel Benítez. Here's the thing. Whoever you put in DraftKings between these two guys is going to score 1 million points. So either Gabriel Benítez, are you trying to do Charlie's face?
Someone said it looked like him, so I'm trying to look to see.
You don't look like him. Who said you look like him? They'll just say you look like anybody at this point. Anyway, Gabriel Benítez, $9,300, because if he wins, he's going to knock out Charlie. That's how everybody beats him. If Charlie beats Gabriel Benítez, he's been getting stopped as well. So honestly, if you guys are on Charlie, throw him in your lineup. That'll open up a lot of money for the rest of your budget. We talked about the betting odds. The Monkey Knife Fight Shark line, 58 to 27. Honestly, those are pretty low. Do you think it's a more?
I do not.
You don't even think your boy gets past 27?
I think if he lands 2 on Mowgli, it's going to be bad news. I mean, when that dude, Steve Garcia, was just like desperately taking this dude down.
And then he lost that fight. I mean,
Yeah, because he got taken down and mauled.
And finished. He got finished, too.
On the ground, not on the feet.
Okay.
He was dominating on the feet. And this is going to be a striking match, so, I mean, you can keep heading down this road. You said you wanted to bet on this, too, so.
I'll bet you on this fight.
Yeah, you got to give me fucking.
I'm not giving you 3 to 1
300.
odds. That's just stupid.
Well, that's what it is, so.
Anyway, if you guys are confident in this fight, I think you could put either one of these guys in your Monkey Knife fight. Knockout Kings for sure, frankly, because I think whoever wins this fight is going to win by stoppage. So they're probably solid for Monkey Knife Fight Knockout Kings. If you don't know what that is, go to WeWantPicks.com/MKF. You sign up. They will match your deposit, and any one of the 3 fighters that you pick win by KO or TKO, you get paid. That's WeWantPicks.com/MKF. I need fucking eye drops. Oh, boy.
Oh,
here we go.
You going to be okay?
It's because I'm severely dehydrated, and that's just not a great combination. Don't ever, I will kick you off this show, do a sexy noise like that ever again.
That wasn't sexy. I mean, if you think that's sexy, then we got some more questions to ask here, because I was just doing like that. Oh.
Yeah, I bet you
But
were.
if you're feeling some tingles in some other places, we got to have a different conversation, Angelo.
Next up at UFC San Diego, we've got Lukasz Brzeski taking on Martin Buday. Lukasz Brzeski is 8-1 overall, 3-1-1 in his last 5, coming off what was a contender series win, but is now a no contest. Martin Buday, 10-1 overall, 5-0 in his last 5, coming off the destruction of Chris Barnett. Lukasz Brzeski is coming off, as I mentioned, an impressive contender series win, but that was flipped to a no contest because of some PEDs in his system. He's a well-rounded heavyweight with solid power, solid speed, decent takedowns, and nice leg kicks. He's very athletic and has no problem working spinning attacks. The problem with Lukasz, though, is if you dig into his fights and you watch tape, he does not like getting hit, and obviously nobody does. But if you stay in his face with volume, he will literally turn his head and cower away instead of circling out and countering. Martin Buday is a heavy-handed striker with solid footwork and very real power. He's interesting because all of his wins are by stoppage, and it's very clear that he's got that real power, but in the past, he's been a slow starter. If you go back and watch his fight it's called Octagon, that's the name of the promotion, you'll see that even though his footwork is solid and he's always moving, he gets hit like a good amount, and he doesn't always engage. His contender series win was very impressive, and the reality is that even though he might be slow to engage, when he does engage, everything has power. He's coming off that win over Chris Barnett, which is listed as a technical decision, but the reality is he broke Chris in that fight. Chris was hoping to get a no contest by milking the strike there, the illegal strike. But they were in the 3rd round, so they said, oh, this goes to a judge's scorecard. Why are you giving me a face?
The way you said milking, it made me a little uncomfortable. And you said it twice, too.
Because, yeah, he tried to pull an Aljamain, but they were in the 3rd round, and it didn't work, so went to decision, and obviously he lost that decision because he was losing that fight. And, on one hand, I don't know what to do with this fight, though, because Lukasz is the better all-around fighter. He's athletic, he's got power, he can work in takedowns, and he can really do something. I mentioned how he looks away when strikes come at him, and I think that's going to be the problem in this fight and others, but Buday can be low volume, so he's not necessarily going to be staying in Lukasz's face with those strikes, and Lukasz may have freedom to work his own offense. Ultimately, I am going to go with Buday here because I think his power is going to be the difference, but I don't like him at the 2-1 odds, and I'm probably not going to be betting on this. I will, however, have one or both, probably not both, but one of these guys potentially in one of my Monkey Knife Fight Knockout King entries. And this Martin Buday line continues to move. So the general public is on Martin Buday. What do you think, Chickaloots?
Yeah, he probably is definitely the play in this matchup, but Jesus Christ, man, you gotta be careful. I don't think he's a parlay piece. Obviously I'm very anti betting heavyweights at all because anything can happen. These are two big boys swinging two big fists around like crazy, like a ceiling fan. And Lukasz is a guy that honestly, Buday's just got to survive the first minute and a half of each round, and especially the first minute and a half of the first round, because that guy throws heat. He is a brawler, throws big shots, and then after that, that dude can't breathe. He has no cardio at all. And if you watch Buday, especially in that Chris Barnett fight, that dude threw, I think, like 170 some punches, and obviously there were a lot of just inside clinch work, but he has no problem just grinding out victories, and I think that is definitely the play in this matchup. If he comes in and tries a toe-to-toe against Lukasz, he's probably going to get knocked out like a lot of people have. When you see all the first-round finishes for Lukasz, you see why when you watch him fight. He is all in, first minute, boom, 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 and then if Buday can survive, get him against the cage, just grind him, get your decision win, move up, do whatever you got to do, because you're a big favorite in this matchup, and you could get caught and get embarrassed in this fight, especially early on in the round. So my play is Buday. But I'll be looking at, they haven't dropped the prop bets for this fight yet. I know the over-under is at 1.5, but I might look at it inside the distance decisional action again for Lukasz, because he's going to be the more dangerous fighter in my mind in the first couple minutes of each round. But, Buday could survive that and just grind out like he did against Chris Barnett. There wasn't anything real flashy in that Chris Barnett fight. It was a lot of just pressuring Chris Barnett against the cage, hold him there, work him against the cage. And Lukasz, I think, is the more dangerous fighter in this matchup. So my pick is going to be Martin Buday, but Jesus Christ, holy moly, say your prayers if you're putting him in a parlay, to be honest with you. I wouldn't do it.
I agree. I do not think I am confident he wins, but I do not think he's a parlay piece. $8,900, I would like a little bit of a discount on that, but I think he can score well because all that cage control scores really well. He certainly can get a finish. Lukasz literally turns his head like when strikes come at him. Like it's almost like if he was started his career as a wrestler. I mean, Bo Nickal just dominated his fight, so that's a bad example. But it's almost like you started as a wrestler, then you're fighting and strikes are coming your way, and you're just not used to dealing with that yet. He literally turns away, and someone like Buday, who does have some real power, can grind him out and get that done. $8,900. Honestly, he's probably gonna end up paying for it, but that is a hefty price. Monkey Knife Eye strike line 66 to 41. I do think it's a more. You like less?
No, I would say I'm not paying $8,900.
Oh, gotcha. What do you think of the Monkey Knife Eye strike line?
It's probably a more. I mean, it just depends on if Buday survives. Like I said, it survives, but it should be a slow. I think this is just a boring, slow, grinding Buday win, honestly. So it's probably a more. Just up against the cage, just breathing heavy. Lukasz is disgusted because his chest hair is rubbing up against him, and it's just nobody likes that.
The live chat's literally questioning if you're gay or not, and then you're like, his sweaty chest hair.
He's hairy like animal. He's got those Robin Williams arms. I bet his knuckles look crazy.
I like the more Monkey Knife Fight as well. Go to WeWantPicks.com/MKF. Give that a shot. I mentioned Knockout Kings might be a solid play. Guys, if you want 50 free bucks, go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our 5 betting partners. Make a deposit. I'll send you 50 bucks as a thank you. And anybody looking to get early access to our bets, all of our fantasy plays, our fantasy ranking, and even more tools coming, go to WeWantPicks.com, scroll to the top, and click Become a Member. It is literally $2.50 a week. It's absolutely nothing. You get ahead of some of these lines, you'll pay for years' worth right off the jump. WeWantPicks.com, scroll to the top, click Become a Member. Next up at UFC San Diego, we have Yazmin Jauregui taking on Iasmin Lucindo. These names are very, very
Her nickname
similar.
is actually Yazmin, I think. So I think it's literally Yazmin versus Yazmin.
It's a mess. Anyway, Yazmin Jauregui is 8-0 overall with 6 stoppages in her career. Iasmin Lucindo is 13-4 overall, 5-0 in her last 5, and she is riding a 7-fight win streak. Yazmin Jauregui is a powerful striker with a very promising career. She's got fantastic pressure and very impressive combinations. She'll enter the pocket with a high kick, finish with overhands and uppercuts, and if she smells blood, she will fire everything at you to get the finish. As impressive as her striking is, her grappling is solid as well. She's got fantastic body lock takedowns and takedown defense that she uses to end up on top. She is early in her career, but it's looking like Yazmin might be a problem for some of these women in the division. Iasmin Lucindo is a grappler who uses her power to clinch and drag her opponents to the ground. Once she's on the ground, she's got solid top pressure, and she uses strikes to loosen you up before transitioning to submissions. Her striking is just okay. She essentially waits for you to throw so that she can counter and then rush in and look for those takedowns. Her game plan is always to get on top and control the fight. I absolutely love Yazmin with a Y in this fight. And obviously, there might be some questions around her takedown defense and her BJJ off her back, but I think I've watched enough tape to just see how solid her defense is. She's got fantastic hips, and she uses underhooks really well to shuck you off and then either strike from there or scramble and then get her own takedown. So Yazmin's the pick. The minus 240 odds that I saw earlier were all solid, and then now it's gone down to minus 210, which is even better. I think she is just head and shoulders.
Minus 184 now.
Dude, I don't know what I missed in the film. And I guess she's still a 2-1 favorite, right? She's still a big-time favorite. But the reality is I think she dominates this fight, and she's very, very good. If these lines continue to move, I'm going to throw a money line on her, and I think she will fight for that money. What?
Is it my turn now?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very good against not great. And let's be honest, neither one of these girls has fought great competition. Obviously, Yazmin looks like she's great on tape against these girls that don't really know what they're doing. But if you really watch that tape, man, she's got no head movement. I mean, no head. She just constantly is eating jabs versus girls that don't have any power. So she just kind of eats them, and she's able to throw power, more power back, so it makes it look good. But she's eating shots to throw the big power shots. She's going to be my pick in this matchup. I don't want to get it, I don't want to get it wrong, but there's a reason why the odds are moving, because I saw this at minus 200, and I put it in my notes that I put on Twitter on Sundays. Follow me on Twitter. That minus 210 is crazy. If you want to lay money for a minus 210 favorite for an untested prospect that has no head movement and has shown holes in the game on the ground, more power to you. She's going to be my pick for this fight, but do not be surprised if Lucindo gets on top of her. If she is able to get in those body lock trip situations where that's really her go-to. I think she's only like 20 years old, which is crazy. She's got crazy experience. It's only 20 years old. But if she's able to get inside the strikes and get to that body lock and get Yazmin on her back, Yazmin is in big trouble, because Lucindo, when she gets on top of girls, it is automatically past the half guard, past the mount. And I know the level of competition also has not been great, but when she gets on top of girls, she is a big problem. And if you want to, like I said, if you want to pay the money for Yazmin, you think it's great odds, Angelo. Maybe it is. I think she can win the fight. She definitely is the more talented fighter. She is the prospect of the two, but I've seen her on her back, and I've seen Lucindo get on top of girls and absolutely dominate them. She is a problem if she gets on top. So it's going to depend on if she's able to get those takedowns, because as you mentioned, Lucindo, there's not a lot of hands there. She's not pumping jabs out. She's not throwing big shots. She's waiting. But once she gets inside and she gets that body lock, she's very good at those inside trips, outside trips, getting girls flat on their backs and immediately passing to those half guard and full mount situations. So I'm staying away from this completely. I was going to actually pick Lucindo, but I'm like, you know what? 20 years old, short notice. I understand it's a little bit short notice for Yazmin as well, but Yazmin's the better fighter. She should win. I'm just saying, be careful.
Well, somebody in the comment section said they got Yazmin at minus 160. If I saw minus 160 today, I'd hit it for sure. But I don't know where those odds are, because even Best Fight Odds, which has 15 books listed, does not have a minus 160 anywhere. And I know it didn't move the other direction. So I don't know when or where you got that, but congratulations, because those don't exist, and the odds are actually going that direction. They're not going the other way, so you weren't ahead of any movement. So either way, congratulations on that. If I see that, I will hit that for sure. DraftKings, $8,700. I think she's worth it. I think she's absolutely worth it. I agree with you. There is a risk. She can be held down, but The tape I watched, head and shoulders above Lucindo. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, and I mean, in the striking, it's not even close. I agree. In the striking, it's not even close.
And she's got takedown defense. Will it be enough? I don't know.
I don't think Lucindo's going to offer anything on the feet, just whether she can get her down. And I'm just saying, I don't know if she is going to be able to get her down, but if she's able to get her down, it's an issue. And Lucindo's going to be a big girl in this matchup too. I think it's at 115. Lucindo's not a normal 115 fighter when I look at her. If she's able to make this weight cut, that she's going to be a big girl in there.
Yeah, it'll be, I'm actually, as dumb as this is, I'm actually looking forward to this fight. The Monkey Knife Fight strike line, I'm not going to touch it, right? I'm not going to put my money on a fight like this, or there's just too many unknowns. Like you said, Lucindo can get the takedown, just hold her down. Yazmin could come in, just light her up, dance around. I'm not going to touch it. Let's see them fight. We don't need to bet on every single fight as far as the strike lines are concerned. If you want 50 free bucks, go to weonpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners, and I will send you 50 bucks as a thank you. And become a premium member. Go to weonpicks.com, scroll to the top, click Become a Member. It unlocks all sorts of exclusive bets, early bets, fantasy plays, fantasy rankings, and a whole bunch of other tools to help you not only pay for it, because it's only $2.50 a week, but help you make some real money week in and week out. A lot of it, everybody in the live chat talking about Bo Nickal dominated. I can't believe he didn't get signed. Jacob and I talked about that earlier today. I said, I guarantee you they are not going to sign him because they're just going to use him for the Dana White Contender Series ratings. They'll throw him on there 3-4 times. The ratings will be solid every single time, and then everybody wins. They're paying him accordingly. He's not getting the $5,000 that every other fighter gets. There's just 0% chance because he could have gone to Bellator, gotten paid big. So they're paying him real money, and they're just going to leave him on Contender Series to juice up the ratings, get him some easy wins because he doesn't even have the experience. Why would they sign him? Who are they going to have him fight? There's only so many cans that you, and I don't want to say cans, but there's only so many inexperienced fighters you could throw him at.
Sean Strickland.
Actually on the roster.
Let him fight Sean Strickland. First fight.
There you go. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Bo Nickal thing. I think he'll continue to dominate. They'll give him favorable matchups, and then he'll be on Contender Series for a while, similar to what they did with Greg Hardy. He had like 3 wins on Contender Series before officially.
Fuck Greg Hardy.
In the UFC. Next up, at UFC San Diego, we have our third rebooked fight. We got Cynthia Calvillo taking on Nina Nunes. Cynthia Calvillo is 9-4 overall, 1-3 in her last 5, riding a 3-fight skid. Nina Nunes is 10-7 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, coming back after a year away. This fight was rebooked from UFC Vegas 58, which is about a month ago at this point. But Cynthia Calvillo is a pretty well-rounded fighter. She's a good striker. She's a good grappler. She's got solid takedowns. While she is very well-rounded, she's pretty slow for the division, and she does not have much power. When she gets you to the ground, she's very solid. She'll soften you up with strikes to sink in a submission. The biggest issue for her, however, is that it's obvious that she isn't comfortable in a lot of the striking exchanges. And it's easy to say she's on a 3-fight skid. 2 of them were knockouts, but they weren't just solid opponents, right? Andrea Lee, Jessica Andrade, and Caitlin Chagagian. Nina Nunes, she's Amanda Nunes' wife. Her maiden name is Nina Ansaroff. So after this video, you're going to go do your own research. You're probably going to have to look up Nina Ansaroff to check out some of her fights. This is her second fight back since having a baby and her first fight in more than a year. So there's definitely some unknowns coming into this. Skill-wise, she's very well-rounded. She's not the best striker. She's not the best grappler, but she's got solid fundamentals everywhere, and she really only loses to specialists, right? She loses to incredibly high-level grapplers, incredibly high-level strikers, but she's not losing to other well-rounded women, right? She's like the best of the jack-of-all-trades, if that makes any sense. And I get why Calvillo is the favorite. She was the favorite last time out. She's the favorite this time. She averages almost 2 takedowns per fight, and Nina, her last 2 losses were grappling-based. But I got to go with Nunes here. I think Calvillo's probably the better fighter, just, at least had more potential in her career. But the Andrade loss just took something out of her. She's not the same person. In her loss to Andrea Lee, she quit on that stool. And I know you guys defended it last time I said this, but her shot attempts looked terrible. She's never been a very good striker. So I got to go Nunes here. I have to imagine she was in camp with Amanda, and Amanda looked amazing in that last fight. The layoff, the gin change, the baby, like obviously there's some questions here, but I think Nina Nunes is going to be well prepared, ready to go, and I think Nunes gets it done. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, the Amanda Nunes performance actually gives me a little bit cause for the pause in this matchup, because obviously in the last matchup I'm a big Cynthia guy. I think I picked her like pretty much every fight that she's fought in, because she's usually the tougher person. She usually gets in. She's the tougher opponent, and as you mentioned, she kind of got bullied in her last three fights, really. The issue with the Amanda Nunes fight is I know that Amanda looked great, and then Nina's part of that camp. But Amanda Nunes is a different level, right? I don't think that she needs to be part. What was that?
It's natural. Like she's naturally gifted.
Right. Yeah. I think she can kind of do, and I'm talking about splitting off from ATT. I think she can kind of do her own thing and still succeed and look great. Where I think Nina is going to suffer a little bit by not having all those training partners that she would normally have at ATT and all that, getting ready for the camp. So I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Amanda looked great, so Nina's going to look great." I think that she's going to suffer a little bit more than Amanda as far as being separated from a main camp like ATT. And I'm going to stick with my pick. I mean, I'm a big Cynthia guy. I think she comes in, is able to get the takedowns. I think she's going to show people and remind people who Cynthia is, because I mean, she, to be flat out honest, she was embarrassed in her last three fights. I mean, just flat out embarrassed. She was getting just muscled, overworked. I think she's going to be the tougher fighter in this matchup. I think she's the better wrestler and better grappler in this matchup. I think she finds the takedowns, and then that's a path. I don't think it's flashy. I don't think it's anything over the top where she's just an over-dominant performance, but I think she's able to get the takedowns, control Nina on the ground, and do what she's done in the past before to get her in the position that she was in to get those big shots and those big fights. So I'm a big Cynthia guy. I do enjoy watching her fight, and I think that she dominates this matchup. I think previously we had a bet on this fight. I don't know if you still want to do that.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it. Give me 100 to win.
Just 100. I think we just do it 150 last time.
Yeah, done.
Okay.
All right, easy breezy. Listen, DraftKings, $8,300, $7,900. Yeah, I do like Nina Nunes to win, but I think if she wins, I think it's pot shots, staying on the outside, defending the takedowns. I don't know how well she'll score. If Cynthia wins, I would imagine she's using her wrestling and hanging out on top, so she might score well. And 8,300 is a decent discount. Do you like Cynthia enough to have her in your DraftKings?
I'll say that I haven't built my lineup yet, but she's definitely an opportunistic play there. $8,300. I think there's a lot of takedowns.
Yeah, listen, there could be, but Nina Nunes has almost an 80% takedown defense, and I imagine she's grappling with Amanda, who's bigger, stronger, faster, and a better wrestler than Cynthia Calvillo.
Cynthia would destroy Amanda.
Okay. Monkey Knife Fight Strike Line. I think it's a more. I think this fight absolutely goes the distance regardless of which way it goes. And I think they blow past this strike line. So I like the more with Monkey Knife Fight. Do you agree, and why?
Well, if you think she has good takedown defense, it might be a lot of just Cynthia hanging on her hips up against the cage for a long portions of the round. So it could be slow. So I don't know.
Yeah, but 64 is still not a lot. That's 20 a round, basically. And this is every single strike, not significant strikes. So I do think it's more. If you want to check that out, weonpicks.com/MKF. Sign up. They will instantly match your deposit. And you can use that free deposit match to play this line. If you want 50 free bucks, go to weonpicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit, and we'll send you 50 bucks as a thank you. And speaking of thank you, John Doe, he just doesn't want us to know who he is. With the $2 super chat, says lock of the week, Nate the Train Landwehr. We will get to that fight. Jacob and I have already argued about this fight today in text message. So actually, how split have we been? Have we been pretty split? We have.
Just on a couple, I think. This one, the Priscila one, the Youssef one.
Yeah, okay. So a lot.
That's it. Oh, the Charlie one.
One of us is going to have a very rough week.
It's
Next up.
Okay. Next up.
At UFC San Diego, we got Devin Clark taking on Azmat Mirzakhanov. Devin Clark is 13-6 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, and he is coming off the stoppage win over William Knight. Azmat Mirzakhanov, 11-0, 5-0 in his last 5, riding a 3-fight stoppage streak. Devin Clark is a solid grappler with well-rounded striking game. He doesn't have the best chin, but he's got solid footwork and heavy hands. He will throw head kicks while moving forward, but ultimately, he is looking to crowd his opponents so he can take them down. Once he takes them down, he's looking to strike and work for the TKO more than he's really looking for a submission. He's coming off that win over William Knight where he was almost put out early, but he survived and then got his own stoppage. Azmat Mirzakhanov is not the biggest light heavyweight in the division, but he makes up for physical stature with legit power. He's fast and heavy-handed. He's a good wrestler with solid ground and pound, but his hands are so good that he doesn't go to his wrestling very often. He had a great Contender Series win in the summer of 2021, and then the knockout over Tafon Chukwi back in March. But that Tafon Chukwi was not as great as it might look on Tapology because he was probably going to lose a decision. He was dead gassed, and the only reason he got the stoppage was because Tafon's coach told him he needed to charge forward, and then he did, and Azmat just caught him with a beautiful left and then a knee to get it done. If Tafon Chukwi took his time and it did more of the same, he would have won that fight, and Azmat would not be undefeated anymore. And it's a tricky fight because Devin Clark's a solid grappler with chin issues, and Azmat's an undersized light heavyweight with cardio issues. Both men have shown that they can deal with some adversity and come back for the win. I'm going to go with Mirzakhanov here because I think he's the more dangerous guy. And even though Devin survived Williams Knight's early onslaught, I don't know if he's going to survive this one. So not to mention Azmat has his own wrestling credentials. I do like the value here. He was minus 170 when I did quick picks on Sunday. I said he could be a minus 200. I still think that's fair. And minus 150, I think, is very, very fair pricing for Azmat Mirzakhanov. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a wrong pick?
Yeah. So you think that minus 150, minus 200, I mean, I don't know how much you want to pay for this guy. The guy that's just getting his ass beat the entire fight. Looked like he was uninterested in the fight once he started. You always talk about hammers and nails. This dude is all hammer, no nail. Because once Tafon started putting on this dude, that dude looked like he was just like, I want to get the fuck out of here. He was just like, he just kept throwing flying knee after flying knee, just praying that one would hit because there was nothing else he could do. He didn't try to work back in the fight. He didn't try to grind back. Excuse me, sir. He did not try to grind back in that fight. He just kept doing the same thing. Like, oh, Hail Mary, Hail Mary. And then Tafon just tries to bite his kneecap off and ends up getting knocked out because of it. And Devin Clark is a dude that, man, Jesus Christ.
Lost six times.
He is a like, I mean, look how upset this guy gets when you pick against his picks.
Your personality.
I don't interrupt you when you're talking about, I don't interrupt you when you're talking about a pick that I disagree with. Yeah, but I don't sit here and just talk over you the entire time. Super disrespectful. Chat will agree. Devin Clark is a guy that is a lot like Anthony Smith, where he just kind of relies on toughness, very, very good everywhere, but he just doesn't have that ability that he's going to be better than somebody in the fight, where he doesn't have the big power. He's going to be more powerful. He's going to be this. He's going to be that to have that advantage in the fight. But against a guy that Azmat, I don't think he needs that. I just think he needs to grind and wait for Azmat to quit once again in the fight because he's going to get frustrated. He's going to get tired, and those takedowns are going to get easier and easier and easier. If I got to take toughness and grinding and experience, I'll take Devin Clark 100% all the time. I think he gets a takedown early, breaks this dude mentally, and just grinds this dude, and maybe gets a finish late. I'm a big Devin Clark guy in this matchup. I think he's got all the tools to be able to survive early. And if it comes down to toughness and opportunistic fighting, I think he's definitely got all the tools. So I'm very, very high on Devin Clark in this fight. Is he going to be lock of the week? We'll see. I have a thing against grapplers for my lock of the week, but we'll see what happens. I think he's able to get the takedowns and just kind of maul and beat the shit out of this nail of Azmat.
Honestly, this is one of the worst breakdowns you've ever done. Like,
look at the chat. Everyone agrees with me. So
Devin Clark has 6 losses, all finishes. He's been finished 6 times, and your whole thing.
Why are you getting so
would
upset?
think
I don't understand. We're having a conversation. Calm
I'm
down.
going to go ahead and mute you. You would think that Devin Clark was this never quit. Except he's quit many times before against many different fighters. Asmat, the undefeated fighter who...
Blood pressure.
You're trashing his last fight. Oh, he's a nail. He won by knockout. Terrible breakdown by you. Would you like to bet on this fight?
Yeah, I'll bet on this fight.
Okay. Clean 100.
I don't know. Why are you slamming your mouse and stuff? Why are you so upset?
Oh, because you get me going with your stupid faces. But this will bring me back. We got 50 Canadian dollars. That's like $8 American. And from Can of Pepsi, enjoy, fellas. Been watching y'all for months now. Appreciate the content and the insight. We appreciate you. I'm just joking about the exchange rate. Thank you very, very much. That is more than generous. We appreciate you. Can of Pepsi. And actually, Coke is delicious, but Pepsi got a little more sugar in it. You prefer Pepsi or Coke, Jacob?
I prefer Devin Clark.
So RC Cola it is. Monkey Knife
Mountain
fight.
Lightning.
Yeah, Dr. Thunder for Jacob. Sorry, DraftKings. I guess you love him at $7,800. I better see him
You're
in your
goddamn fucking right I do, Angelo.
Good.
Kiss my ass. What's our bet?
We bet $100.
Straight up?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem fair.
He's plus 130. He's not plus 200. Relax.
I mean, you're the one that's saying. You're the one that was very clear, Angelo. This guy should be plus 200. If he was plus 500, I would put my house on him.
Minus. You screwed that whole bit up. $8,400 for Asmat. I like it. It'll probably be in my DraftKings lineup. And then Monkey Knife Fight Strike Line. What do you think there, Jake? You think your boy gets it done super fast?
No, I said you're going to grind out. Do you listen to anything I say? You
No,
said I had
I
a
was
bad breakdown,
fuming.
but apparently you didn't listen to a word.
I was fuming because your whole breakdown was, oh, he's a nail, he's a quitter. Meanwhile, your guy has quit 6 times.
He hasn't quit. He's gotten finished. That dude got his
did
teeth
quit.
knocked
He
out
was
of his
finished.
mouth versus Kutalaba. Literally,
Isn't
his teeth were knocked out of his mouth versus
Isn't a
Kutalaba, and he still
submission
fought.
literally quitting?
No,
I
he was
quit?
submitted- No.
Oh, okay. That's not
Unconscious.
what that is. Okay. He was
No,
not
he's
unconscious. Okay. Anyway, guys, feel free to comment on this video and let us know who you agree with here.
I mean, the
Me
chat
or-
knows. I mean, if you apparently were not reading the chat because they
I
all
was
are.
reading the chat. What was it? Devin Clark is
Put
a
it in the chat right now. Who
fighter.
do you guys think, Clark or the Nail?
Okay, Devin Clark is a regional fighter. He beat William Knight, who's only a bodybuilder. See, everybody
Keep
gets
reading.
it.
Yeah, keep reading.
JR MMA, Asmat, round 1. I mean, come on.
Keep reading.
Anyway, you guys want to become premium members? All sorts of ridiculous content behind that paywall, like bets and fantasy plays. Go to WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. Real McCoy with the $2 super chat. You two remind me of Beavis and Butthead. Jacob, definitely Butthead. That makes sense. Oh, yeah, good job. Actually, there's that new movie. I don't know if you've seen it. I heard it's good.
I grew
Also-
up in a good Christian household. I didn't watch that show.
I'm cringe. You can leave. It's my channel. I don't need you here. Fuck off. Very
Stay.
simple.
No, you gotta stay.
Very simple. My eye's been twitching this whole time. I'm severely dehydrated, but I did get mad. What the hell are you laughing at?
Well, it does twitch when you get angry.
No, it doesn't. I just get loud. This
Well,
isn't even angry. People think this is angry. All right, let's go. Next up at UFC San Diego, we got Bruno Silva taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Bruno Silva's 22-7 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off the decision loss to Alex Pereira. Gerald Meerschaert, 34-15 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off the decision loss to Krzysztof Jotko. Gerald Meerschaert is a very good grappler. He's always live for a submission, but he's just not great on his feet, and people question his chin. But I think he may have proved some of those people wrong in his last couple of fights. His big issue is he has built an entire career on getting pummeled and then pulling off a submission win. He's an incredibly talented grappler, but he doesn't have very good offensive wrestling.
He's
even
a
though
very talented fighter. Whoa. Grappler.
Needed to be very clear there. He doesn't have good offensive wrestling, though. So he does average more than 2 takedowns per fight with a 40% takedown accuracy, but he's just diving at legs to get those takedowns. Bruno Silva is a very well-rounded fighter who has proved to be talented and tough. He's coming off the loss to Alex Pereira, but he did have moments of success. He won a few of those exchanges, had 2 takedowns, 3 minutes of control time, and Alex could potentially be the middleweight champion in a couple of months. Before that fight, he had 3 knockouts in the UFC, and while they were all knockouts, they weren't without adversity. Andrew Sanchez took Bruno down 7 times before getting KO'd. But if that showed me anything, it's that Bruno has the mental and physical toughness he just never out of the fight. He was taken down 7 times and didn't quit, kept coming, stood there, and then absolutely got it done. He's a fantastic striker. He's got solid BJJ. I keep talking about his knockouts, but not all of them are on his feet. He has grounded and pounded his way to some wins. Jared Mearshart has one single path to victory here, and that is by submission. But again, the issue for Mearshart is his offensive wrestling. He doesn't have clean takedowns to force the fight to the ground. So I see Bruno doing whatever he wants to on his feet, and even if he is taken down, I still think he should be able to survive Gerald's BJJ. Bruno is an easy-ass pick for me. I got a 2-unit money line bet on him at minus 260. The odds have already flown past that. And if you were a premium member, you would have seen that I placed that bet almost last week. I forget when, but many days ago at the minus 260 odds. And frankly, it would have paid for many months of premium membership. So if you want to unlock our early bets and see the bets literally as we're placing them, go to wewantpicks.com, click become a member at the top. It's $10 a month. That's $2.50 per week. That's literally nothing, especially when you're getting ahead of lines like this. I got it at minus 260. It's minus 300. Depending what day of the week you're watching this fight, this might close much, much worse than that. Bruno Silva is also going to be in my Monkey Knife Fight Knockout Kings. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I mean, I've been harping this for a few weeks now, or actually for, I guess, a couple of months now, and I think we're all in unison that jiu-jitsu doesn't work anymore. It just does not work. Pure jiu-jitsu does not work. Obviously, anything can happen. If this fight goes to the ground, it might. And if people are sprinkling their little Gerald by submission, I get it. It is what it is. The guy's got 1 million submissions, but he has no way to get this fight to the ground. I mean, it's Paul Craig. Somebody mentioned that. He's the Wish Paul Craig, and that's honestly what it is. Obviously, I think he's a little bit different. I think he's probably better than Paul Craig. So Paul Craig is purely off his back, wants to just throw up triangles. That's about it. At least Gerald can kind of climb on your back, kind of work that offensive jiu-jitsu, where Paul Craig is just all like wants to pull guard type situation. So Gerald is a little bit better in that aspect of it, and he is tough. You know, a lot of people don't think he's tough. I think you mentioned that as well. He is tougher than people think. He will stand and strike a little bit, but yeah, I mean, this is a Bruno Silva play all the way. Gerald is who he is. If it goes to the ground and he gets a submission, you know, that happens sometimes, you know, and that's happened 26 times in his career. But this should be a Bruno Silva play all the way. Do not chase him, follow him at all to the ground. Get your win and get the hell out of there, because he is still a dangerous guy. So,
well, and Bruno Silva's coming off that loss to Alex Pereira, but he had moments of success in that fight. Jacob's doing that because anybody who can't see the live chat sees that people have just decided to say that Jacob's feminine and childish. Childish, I get. Feminine's funny.
Come on, Nick.
You look like Ariane Carnelozzi. Good for you.
Come on, Nick. You want to touch this shit? You want to fucking touch this shit?
Tiffany came in here. I thought I was in trouble. All right.
I started flexing and she ran in here. Jesus Christ.
You walked in while Jacob was flexing. He goes, I started flexing and she just ran in there. She's peeking her head. She doesn't
want to touch it, Nick?
Camera. Not with those pajamas. Oh, I got a dirty look. I am in for it. Listen, DraftKings, $9,000. I think that's absolutely worth the money. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Monkey Knife Fight strike line 58-28. Don't bother. Don't bother worrying about the strike line at all. Just throw Bruno Silva in your Knockout Kings. Again, become a premium member. Get access to these early bets. Stay ahead of these lines. We're typically pretty sharp. Obviously, we miss some. Sometimes we're behind a line, but for the most part, we're ahead of them. The Bruno Silva one, this is going to end up paying for many months of many people's memberships, and this line's still moving. WeWantPicks.com at the top. Click become a member, and if you want $50 for free, all you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners, and I'll send you $50 as a thank you. And we've got another super chat. Kiko Isaac Livingstone, Angelo the Bully. I'm Team Jacob, even with the last 2 weeks. Pick of the week, Smiling Sam. Dude, everybody thinks your lock of the week was Sam Alvey, and it just wasn't.
Not everyone, but there are people that thought that Sam Alvey.
He
I
just
literally
said
said in the video, if I had big balls, I would have, but he is not my lock of the week. It was Bueno Silva. Bueno Silva was lock of the week, and we won 6 in a row. So
Well,
I appreciate you. We appreciate it. Angelo is a bully. I'm glad people are
100%.
starting to see that.
Yeah, it's funny you say this. First of all, I really don't consider myself a bully, but Tiffany tells me all the time. She's like, you are a bully. You got to stop. Yeah. I'm just, you know what it is?
And when
I'm
your
just
wife's
intimidating. I'm just intimidating so people think I'm a bully, but I'm just a nice guy. Just a nice guy. Speaking of nice guys, next up at UFC San Diego, we got David Onama taking on Nate the Train Landwehr. David Onama 10-1 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, and he's coming off a submission win just a few weeks ago. Nate Landwehr 15-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, alternating wins and losses. David Onama fought just a few weeks ago, and he is making a pretty quick turnaround here. Style-wise, he's a kickboxer who likes to plot forward and control the pace. Typically, he isn't incredibly high volume, but he is effective. He has a very long jab, and he's constantly throwing that out there. But he does tend to throw just 1 or 2 punches at a time, unless he's in a clinch where he's busy with knees and elbows. But if you can back him up and use volume, you can get him out of a rhythm. Nate Landwehr is the definition of feast or famine. He will go out there, be busy as hell, run forward, throw wild, and just look for a finish at all costs. He's a talented guy with power and skills, but is almost too focused on being fun and exciting that he puts himself in harm's way for no reason. He's never been in a boring fight. I don't anticipate this one to be boring either. He's coming off that impressive win over Ludovic Klein, where he more than doubled his strikes before taking him down and submitting him. Anytime you have someone like Nate with his crazy forward pressure, you can always have an upset. Always. Especially if Nate wrestled more. He could potentially be the pick here, but we watched because we watched Mason Jones take down Onama 8 times in that fight. If you couple that with Nate's pressure, striking, he could really give Onama some trouble. Nate is 2-2 in the UFC. His 2 losses were stoppages to Herbert Burns, which, hindsight, what a horrific loss that is, and Julian Erosa, which is quality. But his wins are impressive. He beat Darren Elkins and Ludovic Klein, I mentioned. I'm going to pick Onama here because his power is just next level, and I think he's going to be the more technical striker. But Nate is absolutely one of the most live underdogs on this fight card, and that forward pressure, the craziness, if he works in some takedowns, Nate could make this look easy. Onama's going to be the pick because of the power, but Nate's live as hell. What do you think, Jakey boy?
I'm glad you said that. I thought that was going to go a different direction in this. Let's break down David Onama as a fighter. Okay. 3 fights ago, loses to Mason Jones. You referenced that fight. 2 fights ago, against Mowgli, dude's getting beat up. The dude is absolutely getting beat up, getting pressured, getting the crap beat out of him, finds a knockout. That's fine. Comes into his next fight against a guy he's already fought before, a 500 favorite in that fight. And what happens in the first round? He gets pressured. He gets against the cage. He's getting bullied a little bit. This dude, we keep mentioning it. Hammers versus nails. David Onama is a great hammer. If he can control the fight, press forward, has that distance, no issues. The big shots are going to come. Bam, bam. He's going to knock people out. But when you see him get pressured, it is an issue. Mowgli was pressuring him, didn't like it. Garrett Armfield was pressuring him, didn't like it. Now, he won those fights. He's always going to have that game-changing power and abilities. Obviously, he got the fight, his last one again on the ground with that triangle choke. But he is not going to like the pace and pressure, toughness, and tenacity of Nate the Train. There is no doubt in my mind. If you want to play MMA math, Nate beat Ludovic. Ludovic beat Mason, and Mason beat Onama if you want to play that game. But I will say one thing. Watch the Nate the Train Ludovic fight and watch that second round and watch him flip the script on Ludovic Klein. You know how much I love Ludovic Klein, the greatest lock of the week underdog of all time. Watch how the momentum switches and how he breaks Ludovic Klein in that second round and takes over that fight. I think the exact same thing, maybe earlier in this fight, is going to happen to David Onama. He's going to come in, co-main event, front of a live crowd. He's going to be fired up. Nate the Train's going to put that pressure on David Onama, and he hates being pressured. He will get against the cage, and he will stay there. He will stay there. Nate will be on him, and he will stay there. He will not move. He does not like getting pressured, and that's going to happen in this fight, and Nate the Train is going to win this fight. Thank you for listening.
Well, John Doe, back at it. Thank you very much. $2 super chat says, Nate the Train, baby. So, John Doe, thank you very much. Genuinely appreciated. This isn't even your first super chat on this stream. Thank you very much. Obviously, you and Jacob on the same side here, and I'm not going to argue with you. This is not, we've been arguing a lot. This is not an argument. But you're a fucking, no. I think, I think Nate is legit live. There's a legitimate argument.
Use that type of language, sir.
He's definitely live. So $8,600 to $7,600. The problem is, if David Onama wins, he's going to flatline Nate Landwehr. That's the problem, and he'll be worth every nickel. I mean,
if David flatlines him in under a minute, it's gonna be like, all right, it is what it is. But if this gets past a minute and a half, and Nate starts finding that pressure, and I mean, this could look ugly for David.
Yeah, I don't disagree. That's why this does make DraftKings pretty tricky, because David could end up scoring 120 points or just getting taken down and beat on and maybe broken. And Nate, $7,600 could really make something happen. I am surprised. I'm surprised the odds aren't wider. I'm not saying they should be. I'm just surprised they're not. The bookies tend to love finishes and power, and David versus Nate is like the exact type of matchup that a lot of these lines would have.
He's a minus 300 now. He's a minus 300 now. And Nate, I think, opened at like a plus 160 something, 150 something. Now he's at a plus 250. It seems like they're just going to keep getting wider and wider. And I already put money line on Nate, and I'll add more.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to fight you on this. I do think Onama wins this fight.
Wouldn't fight me either.
I do think Onama wins this fight, but Nate Landwehr, certainly live. If you guys want to get $50 from us, I'll send it to you. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners and make a deposit. I will send you $50 as a thank you. It's that simple. And guys, become a premium member. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click become a member. It's $10 a month. That is only $2.50 per week. And you get access to our early bets, all sorts of exclusive
We'll be right back, folks.
DraftKings content and other tools to help you make money watching fights.
You big Looney Tunes guy? Who's your favorite Looney Tune?
I liked Pinky and the Brain.
It's not what the fuck I asked.
They were Looney Tunes.
Are they? I don't think they are.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite, actual Looney Tune? I'll tell you what. I'll be honest. We want to go down this path, and I'm ready to go down
this path. I want to do the show.
Lola Bunny is, whoo! You want to talk about hot. You want to talk about get you going as a kid. Lola Bunny was next level hot. And I'll
your
die
poor
on that
couch cushions. Okay. Anyway. Next up, at UFC San Diego, we have the main event of the evening. We have Marlon Chito Vera taking on Dominic Cruz. Marlon Vera is 21-7 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off the destruction of Rob Font. Dominic Cruz is 24-3 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, riding a 2-fight win streak after the title loss to Henry Cejudo. And Chito Vera is a Muay Thai striker who likes to fight ugly. He does put that down. He does a great job using all of his tools, like his elbows, his knees, his hands, and his feet, to have a pretty versatile attack style to round out his dangerous striking. He can also bring submissions to the table as well. He's got an iron jaw, a ton of stoppage power, and finishes. He does have a negative striking differential, and he can be hittable, but he does a good job of mixing in takedowns if he gets into any real trouble. He took down both Davy Grant and Song Yadong twice, and he is coming off that win over Rob Font, where it was clear that Cheeto was not the more technical fighter, but absolutely the more dangerous one. He was outstruck by more than 100 strikes, but still left Font bloodied and beaten. I mean, he was outstruck by more than 100. That is such a ridiculous number. Like, such a ridiculous number. Anyway, Dominick Cruz is the former king of this division. He has wins over all-time greats, current champions. He's the real deal. He basically invented the heavy movement style. He's worked side to side. He cuts angles. He's constantly moving his lower body and his upper body, and it just frustrates his opponents, and it opens them up for him to get takedowns. And that's his entire game. Frustrate people with the movement, get them guessing, keep them behind you, and take shots. He averages almost 3 takedowns per fight and has a 71% striking defense. And that's some of the highest striking defense you will ever see. He's very hard to hit because his head is constantly moving, and it's not even always in the same direction as his feet. And this really is a hard fight to pick. Cheeto is absolutely, without a doubt, the more dangerous fighter in this matchup. We saw in his last fight that even if he lands half the strikes, he can do 10 times the damage. The difference here, though, is that if Dominick he's just almost impossible to hit. In his 17-fight UFC career, only one single time has somebody landed more than 74 strikes. And that was TJ Dillashaw in a fight that Dominick won. I have no doubt that Dominick is the better overall fighter, but I do have doubt that being better is enough. I think Cheeto can win with power, takedown defense, and I think Dominick can win with striking and then his wrestling. I can only see Dominick winning if he mixes in the takedowns to make the rounds clear for him. And if we go to the Frankie Edgar versus Cheeto Vera fight, Frankie was, yes, horrifically knocked out, but he outstruck Cheeto. And he got 3 takedowns in 3 rounds. He was beating Cheeto Vera. And I think Dominick can pull off that exact same win, just without the foot to the face. And, you know, I'm going to go with Dominick Cruz here. I think Dominick gets it done. You people are going to call me a Cheeto hater because of all the stuff I said after the Rob Font fight. But to be clear, I never said Rob Font won that fight. All I said was that it is clear Rob Font was the better striker. Statistically, watching it, he was the much better striker. Cheeto just has crazy power. But Dominick doesn't get hit. He's hit less than any other fighter in the history of UFC with his, amount of minutes in the cage. And I think that matters here. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, this is going to come down to how boring this fight is, because I think if Cruz wants to win, it's got to be a boring Cruz fight. Just dance around, throw that jab, move, throw that weird jab, move. And the wrestling of Cruz, if he's able to get those takedowns, I mean, he should be able to win this fight. But with that being said, you said that people claim that you're a Cheeto hater and this and that. I can't stand Cheeto. I hate Cheeto. I don't like him. I don't like him as a fighter. I just cannot stand the guy, and I going into that Rob Font fight, I said Rob Font will absolutely destroy this dude. Will absolutely destroy this dude. Cheeto should not be the best thing that ever happened to Cheeto was that the thing that happened with Sugar Sean. If Sugar Sean was able to finish that fight, not get his leg blown out, he was going to absolutely destroy Cheeto, and Cheeto, you would never hear of Cheeto again. But I also said, if Cheeto proves me wrong in that Rob Font fight, I will never doubt Cheeto again. I will easily eat my words on everything I said about Cheeto. I immediately apologized. I said I was absolutely wrong about Cheeto. I am a man and will step up to the plate when I am wrong. I was absolutely wrong about Cheeto. He won that fight against Rob Font. He didn't look great doing it, but he did what he needed to do, has big power in his hands. And after that fight, I said if he wins, I will never, ever pick against Cheeto again. I cannot go back on my word. I am picking Cheeto because until he proves me wrong again, I said I would never pick against him. Not picking against him. I agree that Cruz is definitely the more well-rounded fighter, has more ways to win, but I'm a man of my word. Cheeto gets it done. Let's go Cheeto, baby.
Yeah, listen, this was a tough pick for me. And you know, it's funny. So I every week, the way I do my notes, and I do everything a week ahead of time. That's how I do quick picks on Sundays. I've already broken down the next card. I got my notes. I got everything ready to go. It's in a spreadsheet. I got fighter A, fighter B, the notes, their last 5, all that crap. And I had a check mark next to Cheeto's name before I dug in. I was like, yeah, this one, Cheeto, done. And then I went to go type up my notes and dig in and pull up all the stats. And that's when I flipped. Because I was like, man, freaking Frankie Edgar was beating Cheeto Vera. Frankie Edgar, who is not as good, doesn't have the same movement as Dominic Cruz. He tries to, but it doesn't have the same movement. He doesn't have the same, he does have very good wrestling, but he doesn't have the same chin. And I know Dominic's older and Pedro touched him a little bit, but, I just think that fight really opened my eyes that, Frankie Edgar was way ahead of Cheeto Vera that entire fight till he wasn't. The Rob Font fight, Rob Font lit up Cheeto Vera, lit him up, start to finish. Couldn't handle any of the damage coming his way and had zero power in his hands, but he lit him up. So I think Dominic Cruz could be a combination of those two guys and beat Cheeto here. But, it's a super close fight.
No, I agree. I literally agree with your breakdown. I think that Cruz should, in my mind, the way I see this fight going, it's going to be Cheeto pressuring Cruz, but just kind of following him around. So if you remember the Chris Curtis, Jack Hermanson fight, I don't know if, I can't remember if you were able to watch that one, but Chris Curtis was basically just kind of following Jack Hermanson around the whole time. Couldn't really put hands on him, right? He wanted that big power shot, but couldn't really lay hands on him because Jack was in and out, touch, move, side to side. And Chris Curtis was literally just chasing him around the entire time. This could look the exact same where Cheeto just plodding forward, Muay Thai style, that back and forth Cruz movement where he's just chase him and is never really able to land that big shot. So, I agree with your breakdown. If people are picking Cruz, I 100% agree with it. He is the much better fighter in this matchup. I just can't pick against Cheeto because I made a promise. I'll never pick against him, so I'm on Cheeto, but I think this could be a very boring decision win for Dominic Cruz, 100%.
Yeah, and frankly, the biggest thing that worries me is not necessarily the power, right? Dominic Cruz has fought power before. It's the age. He's 37. And that is the thing that's starting to worry me. The first thing that goes is the chin, then the speed. So, that's the one thing that worries me. But anyway, you and I are split here, but we both, listen, I think plus 190.
Enough. Yeah, I picked Cheeto, but I'm observant enough to know how good Cruz is, for sure.
Yeah, I think we both get it. Listen, I think they're both good value in DraftKings as well, because if Cheeto wins, it will be... Cheeto's not going to win a decision, I don't think. He won a decision against Rob Font, but I don't think he's going to win that same decision against Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, it'd be tough to do.
Yeah, because he'll either finish Dominic or just not be able to touch him enough. But $8,500 for that potential finish, that's a great price point. $7,700 for Dominic Cruz, I think that's a solid price point. It's in the 7,000s. And if he is, he averages almost 3 takedowns per fight, per 15 minutes, not even per fight. It's per 15 minutes, and this is a 25-minute fight. So if he gets 4 or 5 takedowns, all of a sudden he's worth that as well. So I think pick your side, you're worth it.
Yeah, I think Dominic Cruz is going to be one of the more heavily owned people in DraftKings, and for good reason. You mentioned the takedowns. And people have mentioned in the chat he's never lost a non-title fight. And to be honest, Cheeto he's got 7 losses. The guy isn't some world beater, So he's probably going to be pretty high owned in DraftKings, I imagine, for good reason.
Yep, probably. The Monkey Knife Fight strike line, 105 to 89. It's funny, man, because I know Cheeto's got solid volume, but you have to factor in Dominic's defense. I mentioned before he has a 71% striking defense. That is some of the highest in the history of the UFC. So yes, Cheeto does have high volume. He lands at a high rate, but people don't hit Dominic Cruz. They just don't. So I do not see, I think it's an easy less on Cheeto Vera. Easy less on Cheeto Vera. Especially because he's, he couldn't really hit Rob Font. So I don't think he's going to hit Dominic Cruz. He may get it done, but I don't think he's going to hit him 105 times. And Dominic Cruz at 89, I think that's possible because Cheeto Vera does get hit. So I think this is a less-more in Monkey Knife Fight. You agree?
I think it's a less.
You think they're both under? Well, if you guys are confident on either side of that, go to WeWantPicks.com/MKF. They will instantly match your deposit. So sign up, take their free money, put that free money on some of these lines. If you want $50, weonpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners, make a deposit, and I'll send you $50. And don't forget to become a premium member. I continue to mention that a premium membership is only $2.50 a week, and it gives you access to all of our early bets, basically our bets as we're placing them, whether it's that day, weeks before the fight, months before the fight in some cases. But there's also exclusive DFS content. I put up the prize picks the day they drop, and prize picks, just like bets, those lines move. The takedowns line move, all those lines move. So I put those up on Tuesdays the minute they drop, and then Fridays I put the video on this channel. By the time Friday comes, some of those lines have already moved and you missed out. So the moral of the story here is it's dirt cheap. You get access to everything early. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. We appreciate you. Thank you guys all so much for the watch. Jakey boy, you have anything to say?
No, I'm going to follow my Twitter because I'm going to clip out my song and dance to Amanda. I'll tweet it, and you guys need to like it, comment it, and really get this relationship going. And I can't wait.
Good luck. I'm rooting for you. But if that works out, you're not leaving. You still got to do all this shit. Like, you have a job.
Yeah, and if she gets a title shot against, like, Shevchenko, I'll pick against her. I'll be honest with you. Sorry, Amanda.
Thank you all very much for the super chats, the support, the likes, the subscriptions, the memberships, all of that. You guys honestly are amazing, even when I'm cursing you out for disagreeing with me. We'll see you on Friday for all of our final stuff.